cynical and insulting, to tell you the truth, because, then who says the Hispanic vote would be monolithic anyway? But, until you get the politics out of any of this stuff. I mean, now we have politics in our insurance. Hell, we have politics in the air we breathe. It's ridiculous. It enters too many things. And as I said, you have this unelected, administrative branch of the government. All they're interested in is keeping their phony baloney jobs. And, they just toe the line and they keep people out that we want. That would be good American citizens. There's nothing better. There's no better American citizen than a recent legal immigrant, in my opinion.
That's true. You definitely don't take it for granted after you've gotten in.
They know what they know what it's like elsewhere. They know where not that Norway's hell on earth, but
no.
it's there are opportunities here.
Right. And particularly for my husband, he was actually at he was at the limit. Like, he's not even 30 years old, and his career in politics in Norway, he needed to wait for somebody to die to move up. And he was looking for greater opportunity and expansion. It's so incredibly hard, and the system that Norway has to start your own business is incredibly difficult and very, very expensive, where you can do that in the U.S. It's fantastic. So it's one of those things, though, that we just don't, the system isn't simplified. It is not, it's not easy, like in any way to get started. And I hurt actually for people who are illegal immigrants, because we hear so many, especially from our side, conservatives, there's just so much negative that they're bad people and evil. And no, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like they probably just got completely screwed over or couldn't handle the costs or those kinds of things. The fact that there's no good roadmap already in place, the current roadmap doesn't make any sense for most of those people who are providing services and jobs that we need. That's why they're still here. I mean, but we haven't made it possible for them to be here in any legal capacity. And then you could talk about whether those people want to be here in a legal capacity or whether they want to be citizens. Kai wants to be a citizen. He wants to vote and he wants to be here and make a difference. But some of those illegal immigrants that are already in the country would be perfectly happy just to not be illegal anymore, or there to be a path to be able to just stay in the country on a working visa or whatever. The other thing that's worth talking about is that the marriage visa in particular that we underwent, I mean, we looked at every option. The fiance visa to get him in before we got married, but that didn't make any sense. We looked at trying to get him in for a work visa. Unfortunately, for work visa, you pretty much have to demonstrate as a company, if you tried to hire an immigrant, why there isn't somebody in the U.S. who has the same skill set. That you would have to prove we have to hire a Norwegian because we need somebody who speaks Norwegian because X. Like, that's pretty much the only reason you would ever be able to hire a Norwegian. You would never, because his background is in politics and banking, the U.S. government would just turn around and be like, there's plenty of these people who have politics and banking. You can't hire that guy. Absolutely not. So the only way that it is easier to get into the U.S. besides marriage is student visa. But Kai's done. He's done with his college degree. I mean, we actually considered him enrolling back into university so that he could come back over here. We looked at every option. But the problem with it is that marriage is the quote-unquote fastest, 7 months. That's the fastest and the cheapest. And it is now the most prone to be taken advantage of by fake marriages or whatever, because it's the easiest option, which means that now they've added all these extra layers of security because so many people were taking advantage of the system instead of doing it a lot of people are coming over not for marriage, but because of work. But they try to sneak in through the marriage visa process because that then, it's easier. Which means that the people who are actually got married for love and want to be in the same country as the person they married now have to undergo all this extra scrutiny because a bunch of people are trying to cheat the system through that particular visa process.
As NJ Libertarian said in the chat, yay protectionism.
Right.
Yay protectionism, and yeah, that's a good
It just,
Good comment.
it just floors me though that there is. I mean, if you have ever had a loved one in intensive care and been too far away from them where you can't reach them, it is the most heart-wrenching experience. I don't even, for me, I was drugged up and in hell, like I was in ICU. So, I mean, it was awful for me, but it must have been 10 times worse for Kai because there was nothing he could do. Absolutely nothing, totally separated from me. And unlike, if you're just happen to be, you get the call that your loved one is sick, and you're on the other side of the country, you can still get on a plane. Maybe it'll be too late, but at least you can get to where they are. No matter what, Kai could not come to me because the government prevented him from sitting by my bedside. That's just wrong. This isn't even a partisan issue. This is something that every congressman should be able to be like, absolutely, check, bipartisan, we're going to shake hands across the aisle. This is something we should all agree on. I mean, people who I was connected to, people who have completely different political views from me, still were like, this is awful that this is happening to you. And it's underreported because I guess it's just a silly human interest piece and it's not headlining news. I think that people would be much more upset about it if they were aware it was even happening. Because it's such a personal issue that people can imagine, oh my gosh, if this happened to my wife, if this happened to my father, if this happened to my child, I would be, distraught. So I'm shocked. And I will continue even being out of the hospital. I'm already putting together this weekend a packet for every person who contacted their congressman and used the Visa for Kai hashtag. I will be writing them a handwritten letter and then delivering it to their congressional office in D.C. with a packet that has Kai and my picture in it and my medical documents and a draft of the original bill for the compassionate visitor visa. This is not going to go away.
No, it shouldn't.
Absolutely. I would be remiss, since I have both of y'all on, if we did not switch topics briefly and discuss a certain topic that, well, we all enjoy discussing, I think. Did you name your pistol Rogue, Katrina? Is that what you decided on the name?
I did, in fact, yes. It's not here with me, though, because I live in Maryland now. But yes, its name is Rogue, and it's sitting in Texas.
Well, the famous story I like to tell is I remember talking to, I think it was, I want to say it was Billy Tucci, and I mentioned that I knew you, Chuck, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I remember sitting at a con and we were trading gun lists."
Yeah, it's like, well, you don't talk about your kids. You talk about, well, I have one of these, two of these.
I went down to Alexandria to hang out with some great bloggers down there. The night I got out, I left ICU, got in the car, and went to a bloggers luncheon. That's how badass I am. But I was like, I need people. Oh my God. But I get down there and they're all like, what are you doing in Maryland? You're on the wrong side of the divide. And I was like, I needed a yard for the dog and everything. And they were like, no, you got to be in Virginia. And I was like, why? And they were like, well, you can have your gun here. That was the number one reason given to me.
I have become a very big fan of Berettas. I've got the Beretta. I've got the Beretta Storm 40 caliber, and I've got an M9. And what's so frustrating is that 9mm ammo is so hard to come by. I haven't been able to shoot it yet, and I've had it for like 6 months. But Chuck, what about you? Do you prefer pistols? Do you prefer shotguns, rifles? What do you prefer?
I mostly shoot pistols, and it's mostly big bore. My favorites are, I got a pair of Dan Wesson 44 Magnums that I love, and I've had them for ages. And if I'm going to go to a range, generally it's them I pick up. I might promise myself I'm going to take something else, but as I'm walking out the door, that's what I'll take with me.
love it how you say something else. Katrina, you only have one, but have you ever considered getting more?
You know what? Originally, I was a rifle girl. My dad was a sharpshooter, so at 8 years old, I was firing guns as tall as I was. I was a pretty decent shot at 8, but so that's what I like. You know what? Until I married a Norwegian, all the men I dated had really big guns, and so they would I just kind of like indirectly had guns that were more intense than my little revolver. But now I'm married to a Scandinavian, and the gun thing doesn't work for him. It's very that is actually was the first major fight we had, was about whether or not there should be guns in our house if we had kids. And so that's actually still a point of contention. We don't discuss it. We just let it go. It's not worth the blow up. So I guess it's up to me now, yes, to buy new. I know that they say that the shotgun cocking sound is the number one sound that will make an intruder leave your door if they hear that inside your house. So I'm pretty set on that being my next purchase. So.
Yeah, I think a shotgun for home defense is, that's the one.
Yeah.
So I always think, it's good because it's the only gun you can really choose what the scenario is going to be like. I mean, I generally load birdshot first, so it lets you have one mistake. If it's your drunken next door neighbor trying to get into your house, well, you ripped his clothes up a little bit and made a lot of noise.
Right. That's all you need. Yeah, I mean the revolver was made to be a concealed carry, fit in my purse, that kind of thing. So for a while it was just kind of in the drawer next to the bed sort of place. But I think shotgun would be fun. But I am partial just to go to the range, partial to old school rifles. So.
Well, there you go. I really don't have any other comments to make. I at some point really need to get into shooting rifles because and maybe get a shotgun. I haven't quite decided on that yet. But if they don't get banned first because people keep using stuff in shootings that they illegally procure, we might add.
That's actually another one of my big major issues that I was planning on taking up when I got back to the U.S., but now I've been sidetracked by this one, was just the problem, how guns have, or anti-gun laws and, gun control legislation, and how it's intermingled with mental health issues in our country. I think that we do a really bad job, honestly, in the U.S. with dealing with mental health across the board. And you see all these people who go in and shoot up a school, and it's really horrific and tragic. But it's not about the guns. This is about the fact that those people aren't getting adequate care. And so that's a huge trigger point issue for me. To pay for college, I worked in geriatric nursing with an emphasis on psychiatry, and worked in nursing homes with people who had mental disorders from being extreme schizophrenia to just tame or dementia. And it's just awful. It's just terrible. And then but they made it about guns. The Democrats have made it about guns.
30 seconds, Chuck. Give it up to you.
The thing in this country is, you can't even, if you have a child and you're having problems with them and they're violent, you can't even get them in for 48-hour observation anymore. I mean, it's sad. You can't commit people who are obviously dangerous. They got to change this.
Absolutely.
So, with that, as much as I want to continue the conversation, we are out of time. Chuck, you have a website again now, right?
Yes, I do. It's back up as of tonight. DixonVerse.net or thedixonverse.com.
And you can also find him at DixonVerse on Twitter. Katrina, you are at